Hello, and welcome to the first edition of Pelham School District Today for the 2017-2018 school year. My name is Dr. Betsy Cox, and I'm here today in my capacity as Interim Superintendent of Schools for the Pelham School District, while a search is underway for a permanent superintendent, a replacement for Superintendent Amanda Lackaraz, who moved with her family to South Carolina, and we wish her the best. So today we have with us some special guests. To my left is Mr. Gary Dempsey, the principal at Pelham High School. Mr. Dempsey is in his second year as principal of PHS. We also have a few students from Pelham High School. Mr. Dempsey, would you please introduce our students?
Yes, we're welcome to have Megan, Olivia, and Alyssa here joining us to talk about our project.
Great. Today, our guests are going to tell us about this project, or should I say this community service project that became a national community service project that was started by Mr. Dempsey and quickly spread. Why don't you tell us how it started and how it grew from there?
Well, it all started with an idea I had. With Hurricane Katrina that happened in New Orleans, I remembered that FEMA and a lot of national agencies donated these campers because people had nowhere to live after Hurricane Katrina. So I had an idea. I said that idea to a couple of staff members, Miss Legassi and Miss Spalding, and they challenged me to do something. And so I said, all right. So I made a phone call. I made a phone call to Campers Inn in Merrimack, and they donated a $29,000 trailer that we had to fill. And I challenged the Pelham community to fill it, and they did, and some. And I was going to drive it down there and find a deserving family and donate it to them, which mission accomplished on all. So
what kind of things did you fill the camper with?
So I called the Red Cross and Salvation Army down in Houston, and they said the biggest thing they needed was ready-to-eat food and water, and then toiletries and stuff like that. One of the other big things, which was news to me, you know, just kind of an oversight when you have something like this, is stuff for babies, because just all the diapers and all that stuff that you need, and the community did an unbelievable job with that, and there are pictures to show how much stuff we brought down. And we had to, basically there's another organization out in New Hampshire called Finders Keepers. They send down a tractor trailer like once every 3 days to these areas affected by these hurricanes. And so I asked them to come over because we had too much stuff. And so they took a lot of it down there for us.
Very good. So you got this started. How did you involve the student body?
Well, I basically challenged the whole community, including the students. And, you know, we have 3 students here that really stepped up to the plate. And they can talk about their experience. So I think first we can talk to Megan, who's in the Miss New Hampshire Outstanding Teen program, and she can talk about why she got involved. And so Megan, can you just tell us why you got involved?
So in the Miss New Hampshire's Outstanding Teen program, the 4 points of the crown are style, success, scholarship, and service. And the most important thing to most of us competing is service. So when I found out about this project, I knew I wanted to get involved with it right away. And I think something that I really took away from this project is that everybody wants to make a difference, just some people don't know how. Because at your send-off, when you said raise your hand if you did make a donation, almost everybody raised their hand. So that really showed that everybody cared and everybody wanted to make a difference. They just needed a leader to step up to the plate, and so it's great that you did that.
Thank you. And then we have Olivia and Alyssa. Can you talk about your organization? Because you guys came to my office, I think the day after I sent out the notification and said, you know, Mr. Dempsey, we want to do this. And I said, hold on, I have to put a couple things. And so they were like chomping at the bit to get involved, and they really did. So why don't you guys talk about it?
Yeah, so we're a part of the Fellowship of Christian Athletes Club. And so when we heard about this community service opportunity, we were like, we should really get involved with this. And so we made some pamphlets, and we sent out them to different houses around the neighborhood. And one girl, a part of our club, she got a whole trunk load of things, and they wrote like notes like, this is a great idea, like this is awesome, thank you for like doing this. And so around the community, people are appreciating what we're doing too, so that really made me feel like this is a great opportunity to get the community involved and everyone together. So
I mean, it's only our second year in the club, so one of our biggest goals was to do a lot of community service with this club. So we've been working on some stuff. We've been brainstorming for stuff to do this year, and when this came up, this was just a great way to, put ourselves out there and really make a big difference, not just with a couple people in our community, but like around the entire country. So.
Right.
So you had a big send-off after the trailer was filled and everything. Tell us a little bit about that send-off.
I just thought that we needed a community event as I started the drive to Houston, which took 33 hours. And
But you did straight through, correct?
No, we did take a 2-hour nap.
Oh, okay.
We did get a little tired, so my friend Lee and I, there was one point that we just were too tired. And so
Very good.
we were switching off, and we just thought it was safer. We took a 2-hour nap, and that proved to be fine. The send-off was great. We had all the students come out and the band. We had the police there. We wanted it to be kind of a community event, and the kids really appreciated it, I thought. And the kids were great. Even when I got back, the kids knew, Ms. Dempsey, you did a good job. How was the trip? They're asking questions. So I think the enthusiasm, I don't know if the girls felt that same way, but I felt the enthusiasm there. Even to this day, kids are asking me, how it was, and I show them pictures on my cell phone. They're just kind of blown away by the devastation of the flooding down there.
Now, I understand you had a police escort?
Yes, yeah. So, the Pelham Police Department, said that would be fun if we should do something like that. So they gave me a police escort to the town line. It would have been nice, the police escort to Houston, but we understand that can't happen. So.
You had a little help with the transportation down.
Yeah, so Enterprise Rental Car donated basically the truck. They knocked almost $3,000 off the price.
Wow.
To let us drive the truck down there, and which come to find out, they need cars down there because all the cars that they had were ruined and totaled because of the flooding. So they need more vehicles down there. So they're actually trying to get vehicles down there on a daily basis. So we actually help them by bringing a truck down for them.
Oh, that's great.
So
you got escorted out of town. The students saw you off. And the band played, and that was great. And then you had your trip down pretty much straight through except for your 2-hour nap. Then what happened when you got there?
Well, when on the outskirts, there's a town called Beaumont, Texas. And I don't know if you heard the news, they're one of the towns that was most affected. The whole town was underwater. And when we were driving through, and for the most part, the water had receded. But what I really took away is on the side of the road is I saw just these mounds of water bottles. And I remembered on the news what had happened is people had no water or anything, so they were going to these sites to get water, and they just had to leave. So when you go by the side of the road, you just see water bottles. And I'm just like, oh, that's where all the people met, because they didn't have any water.
Right.
And I'm just like, wow. And then you look and you just see the whole city and how it must have looked, 2 weeks prior to that. Now, remember, we went 3 weeks after the flooding,
Right.
and there was still, even in Houston, the water was still up about 30 feet. So I just can't imagine how, in the height of the storm, what it was.
So where did you stay when you got there?
My son lives in Houston, and so he has a condo, so we stayed with him. And we weren't there often because we were out doing stuff. We went to the Houston Food Bank, Salvation Army. We met the family. We had to visit a lot of campsites to get them set up. So
Okay, tell us a little bit about how this family was chosen,
who
they are.
It's kind of an interesting story. When the whole thing came, there's a restaurant owner in Houston who graduated from Pelham High School. So he got in touch with me, and he has a friend, then put us in.
His name is?
Peter Petro.
Okay.
That's his short name. I think it's Petrolopoulos.
Okay.
I don't know the correct
Some people
pronunciation.
may know
Peter
his name.
Petro is his name. And he put me in touch with a friend of his, Nick, and then Nick put me in touch with Blair, who runs a nonprofit.
Okay.
And her whole nonprofit is homeless families. And we had a family that she identified that lost everything, not only to the flood, but unfortunately to some people who went in and stole everything out of her current apartment. And so she put me in touch with them. And so what really ended up being the hardest part is finding a campground in the kids' school district. Now, the city of Houston has 260 schools.
Wow.
So we needed to get a campground close to the kids' school, which was a little bit of a challenge, but we ended up accomplishing that.
Where had they been staying?
They were staying at a place called the George R. Brown Convention Center.
Oh, good heavens.
So they had at the height of the storm, there was 10,000 people in there. And when I went 3 weeks later, there was still, I think they said, about 2,000 people still in the convention center. And, you know, as fate has it, we found a site for the family near the kids' school on the day that they closed the convention center for a shelter. So it all worked out perfectly.
Oh, that's wonderful.
Yep.
It's wonderful. So after you delivered the trailer and settled the family, you came home. How'd you get back if you left your truck there?
Yeah, well, JetBlue was nice enough to give us 2 free tickets, and we got in Monday night at midnight. And
Showed up at the meeting on Tuesday morning.
yes, I was
That's
here.
your trooper,
But
Mr. Dempsey.
it was really corporate America really stepped up to the plate, in my opinion, for this project. But it wouldn't have happened without the community of Pelham. And Pelham really did an unbelievable job in everything they did to help. And then all the nice, kind words that people have been saying on Facebook and throughout the community. And it takes projects like this to kind of bring us together and realize that, you know, some of the problems that we have up here are really not that big of a deal when you think of the whole scope of a project like that.
Right. So how did you feel, Alyssa, about what you were a part of and how this happened? How does it make you feel as a student?
I don't know. I love seeing our whole town get together to do something good. I mean, like Mr. Dempsey said, we all have our own issues up here going on, but it's nothing compared to what they're experiencing down there. So it was nice to see everyone kind of put aside their own troubles and work together to do something good for people who really need it.
We all work together to learn.
And Olivia, what did this teach you? What was your experience with this? What did you learn?
Well, like Megan, it was nice to see that our principal stepped up and was giving his caringness to the national effort, and I just think it's awesome because I got to be a part of it, and I always wanted to do some big community service thing, so with our principal stepping up to it, it was easier to get involved. So I was just glad that he got involved first, so then I could jump in and help too. So it's just nice to see that too.
That's great. So it's wonderful to have this kind of an example in your school.
Yes.
That's wonderful. And Megan, what did you learn? What did you take away from all of this?
I think that a lot of the time people forget that high schoolers need a role model as well. When people hear a leader and role model, they think of younger children, and you want to serve as a positive role model to kids of the elementary school and the middle school. But high schoolers still need someone to step up to the plate, and that's what Mr. Dempsey did. And I think he serves as a very positive role model towards us. And doing this project just made me feel a huge amount of Pelham pride, because it was crazy to think of how much we can get accomplished when we all work together.
Absolutely, absolutely.
The interesting part of this for me also is seeing the kids, but seeing the community, because there's one woman that came and had her kids watch the news. She doesn't usually let the kids watch the news, but she watched the news, and then the kids came and they had to go out to the store and buy stuff, and they came to the donation site and gave their stuff and met me and stuff. And so it was really interesting to see not only, you know, our kids, but the younger kids at the middle school and elementary school stepping up as well.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
So you've had this example set for you. So where do you go from here with this example? What did you learn that you can take out to your clubs, your groups, your community, and go from there for other ideas and kinds of projects?
I think because how big this project was and how little time he did it in, I think littler projects will be even easier. So if we can just do littler projects throughout the school, like it doesn't take that much to do it, but you just have to put yourself out there and get it done. Like Mr. Dempsey did, he made the phone calls and he got the trailer and all. So I think it's an example that you don't need to do, you just need to put yourself out there and just do it, and you'll be all set.
You make a phone call and you ask.
Yep.
Exactly.
And I think that's one of the things that I learned from watching Mr. Dempsey do this. I said, how did you get all these people to donate things? He said, I called and asked, which was a great example, I think, to everybody.
Yeah.
And
Other
the thing is, I really also, as you say, is the Pelham community really, once you ask them, not one person said no. They all said, how can I help, or let's get this done. That's what I really took out of this, is that this is a special, really special community. I feel kind of selfish because I was able to meet the family and meet the girls that we really impacted. And just as an aside, I did talk to, the woman's name is Denise. She actually is going to be coming to the Pelham community to thank us personally. So we're going to wait till the school year gets on. The kids are just starting school, but she said that she wants to come up here and thank them personally. So that is going to happen. We're going to make that happen.
Very rewarding, very rewarding. Any other comments on what you learned or where you will go from this? Any other thoughts?
I just think we know that anything's possible now. If you really set your mind to it, you can do it.
Excellent. Any other last things, Meg?
Well, like I said, I've learned that when the community gets together, great things can happen. And something about me is, through the Miss New Hampshire's Outstanding Teen Program, I chose my platform to be helping the less fortunate. So for the past 2 years, I've held a coat drive through the elementary school, and I've collected over about 300 coats in the past 2 years. But now that I know everyone in the community is willing to get involved, I might reach out to every school and maybe other places within the community to get even bigger results.
Excellent idea. Excellent.
So the biggest thing for my takeaway piece is that I say to the students every year, my number one rule is be nice to each other. And it's one thing to say, it's another thing to do it. And I've seen the kids really step up and do it. And I got to tell you, the community and the kids in school have supported each other 100%. And it was a humbling experience, quite honestly. But the Pelham community, what they did is fantastic. And I want to thank everybody, because they're more than just the high school kids. The whole community stepped up. The school board, the SAU people, everybody stepped up, and it was I call it a solidifying event, because it kind of just put us together and on the same path and we got to continue to do that, because it doesn't end here.
Kindness is something we need everywhere.
That's right.
Start locally and think globally.
Yeah.
It works very well. Is there anything else anybody wants to add before we finish up?
I think our number one goal was to impact the family. I think we achieved that. If anyone read the Boston Herald article, they have the starfish example, where there's a bunch of starfish on the beach, and a little boy put one starfish back in the ocean to help, and they go, "You can't make an impact." Well, we can make an impact for that one, and that was our goal, is to impact one family. We definitely did that, and I thank the Pelham community for doing that, because to that family, it's going to mean the world to them. So.
Well, thank you, everybody. And that certainly makes us all very Pelham proud, doesn't it?
Yes.
Excellent.
Great.
Thank you, and thank you for joining us, and we'll be back in a month.